Hello, you lovely listeners. I'm Amy. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast, where we will delve into the minds of the business people we have met in the process of launching our first card game. We will be uncovering their secrets to success, their biggest mistakes, and sharing the key lessons they have picked up en route. So, if you're looking for an engaging chinwag mixed with business insights and a good pinch of fun, you're in the right place. Let's have a really good conversation. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast. Today we have the fabulous Lucy Hitchcock from Partner in Wine. And I'm so delighted that she's come to join us and give us an insight into her world of wine, product development, and really how to sort of stay sane with running a business as a founder. So welcome, Lucy.
Thanks for having me. Love being on someone else's podcast. It's nice to be interviewed for a change.
So tell us, Lucy, first off, what is your favourite wine? Do you have a favourite wine even?
Oh my goodness. Well, my OG Partner in Wine fans will know exactly what this is, but my all-time favourite wine is Mirabeau Pure, which is a French rosé. It's their kind of flagship rosé, and it comes in this gorgeous rippled bottle designed by Jeannie, who's the co-founder. And it's really, really good. So if you've not tried that, I would definitely recommend.
Oh, I'll check that out. And when did you sort of get into enjoying drinking wine?
So, oh my gosh, I have so many like hilarious stories about wine from not my childhood, but like my kind of teens. So I actually really was not a huge fan of wine at all. But like, you know, when you're younger and you do that thing where you go, oh, I want to drink wine. And your parents are like, no, this is for adults. This is an adult drink. But I used to dip my little finger in. And I remember hating the taste of red wine, which is so bizarre to me because now I absolutely love red wine. And just having like cozying up with a glass of red is just delicious. So it was when I was in like my final year of uni, we would buy bottles of Blossom Hill because it was like fairly cheap way
those days.
You know, getting a little bit tipsy before you go to the club. And I didn't really know anything at all about wine. And in fact, even I would go as far to say it is really until I started the business, I didn't know that much about wine. I just knew what I liked then, but wouldn't ever expand outside my comfort zone. So I think probably when I left uni, I started to broaden my horizons a bit. And I'll always remember I went to, with an ex-boyfriend of mine, I went to some fancy restaurant for his birthday. And I asked for a glass of the house rosé. And they were like, oh, we don't do house rosé here, madam. And I was like, oh, okay. So, great. Well, I just picked something from the menu then, I guess, and was looking at the menu like, I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. I don't know what these different meanings are, like what these different French sayings are, etc. And I say I vowed from that moment to never be in that position again, but it did take me at least 10 years to kind of get round to actually knowing vaguely or reading a wine menu vaguely, even slightly correctly. So but probably when I left uni, and even more so, I would say like my mid-20s, that was kind of me entering my rosé era.
Yeah. And I can imagine can be quite a pretentious industry. I mean, I think we've all sort of experienced some of those situations you've mentioned in restaurants where you get chatting to people who really feel they're just at another level to you when you're talking about wine. And I totally resonate. I remember for me, red wine just used to be like the last thing left at the house party. So it's like when anything else had run out, you were like, okay, well, now I'll drink the red wine. So it was always, again, through those uni days, that's how I think I sort of associated red wine. And I think the turning point for me with red wine, and if you haven't done this, definitely put it on your list. We did a wine tour in Argentina, Mendoza, and It was amazing,
amazing.
And also absolutely ludicrous because they gave tourists bicycles and a little paper map where all the vineyards were. And then we just went off cycling, but it was quite busy roads that you were cycling on. And as you can imagine, obviously it was British. By the time we have sampled multiple vineyards, we're like wobbling back on these bikes, not really knowing where we are. But predominantly, obviously in Argentina, reds was the main wines that they had at the tasting. And that was, fantastic. And I guess we met one of the vineyard guys, and he actually said, wine's for drinking and enjoying. And if you happen to find a cheap bottle of wine that you enjoy, he was like, you're lucky. Enjoy it. It doesn't matter about the price tag or this or that.
Well, I think the thing is about wine is it's very much down to your personal taste. And so, like, yes, there is a lot of wine snobbery, and and actually, I think the industry is trying to do a good job of moving away from it. But you do still have, quite a lot of people set in their ways.
Have you yourself felt you've come up against any backlash from people in the industry? Obviously, since you've started the business, and obviously you put out a lot of fantastic content on Instagram. Have you come across people who are perhaps a bit more closed-minded, if you will?
No. Do you know what's interesting? I found myself in the room, and the room being, when you find yourself in the room of the industry. And there are other people in the room who potentially maybe don't think that you deserve a place in the room. But the people who invited you into the room very much enjoy having you there. So I would say I've come across some very interesting characters in the past who have been very quick to criticize on social media. The thing is, I'm not claiming to be a wine expert. What I'm doing is sharing my wine journey. And I think that's why people resonate with it so much, because I'm not necessarily using all these words to describe wine in a way that people don't understand, like crunchy. People use the word crunchy to describe wine. What the hell does that mean? Do you know what I mean? So it's just, it's sometimes I don't necessarily feel like I belong in certain rooms, but if I've been invited there, for example, I got invited to a dinner by Vouvray, who are it's an area in France that makes delicious white wines, and also they make sparkling wines, and they want to showcase their different these different wine regions actually have their own boards. So the board, overarching Vouvray, and then the producers fall under the Vouvray kind of appellation. So it was a dinner by them, and there was some very, very serious people in the room there, and I didn't necessarily feel like I belonged, but I was like, do you know what? I've been invited here. This is amazing waste-free restaurant tasting menu in Hackney. I was like, I'm going to bloody enjoy this. Yeah. And I think that's just very representative of work events, to be honest with you. It's not like you're getting to enjoy it with your pals, but if you've worked hard to get there, enjoy it.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Tell us a little bit then about how you got started with Partner in Wine. What was the drive to start the business, and how did you then start the product development?
So I'm going to start this with a backstory, which is that I left my job when I was 23 to start helping small businesses with their social media. I always loved social media. I was like the first one on Facebook at school. I was always like running home to get on Bebo. I was coding my MySpace page. So I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help small businesses with their social media. And I left my job, went to work with an influencer, and helped her with her socials, her website, etc. This was back in like the heyday when blogging was like, check my blog for this. And I went off to do that, and then I helped various other businesses. Then I was making like a fair amount of money running other people's social media, until I lost two of my biggest clients in 1 month. And I thought, do you know what? This is not a sustainable business or source of income. It's just not. So going back to my roots, my core, I've been developing websites since I was interested in MySpace. So I can code in HTML. And my career was in corporate comms. I worked on huge FTSE 100 company websites. So I kind of knew from a legal point of view, from an SEO point of view, what design needs to be like to go with, you know, the SEO and accessibility to kind of boost that. So I took my knowledge of coding, my knowledge from that, and then I started building websites for people. And it's so funny because I had no idea what to charge at the time. So I was charging people like £300 for a website that would take me months to build. But so I was doing all these things. And my dad would always say to me, I don't know why, why are you helping all these people when you could be doing it for yourself? And my answer to this is that, firstly, I didn't have anything that I enjoy, or like an idea that was really burning enough inside of me to want to go and do. Because if you don't have the passion for something, or you have an initial passion for it and then you lose interest, that is just never going to work, because you are going to resent it and you are not going to continue with it. It's going to make you unhappy. So you really have to, if you're going to commit to something, be sure that you have enough passion to make it go. And the answer to whether or not you have enough passion, is it an idea that you just keep going with, and suddenly it's there and it's launched? Because that's what I did with Partner in Wine. It's not that I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was that I just couldn't stop doing it. And then suddenly it was this massive thing. So my dad would always say to me, why do you do it for other people? And the second answer I had to him was that I just really enjoy helping people. And I just think I have so much knowledge to share in the small business area and within the small business community, that I'm very nosy. Like, I can't possibly not butt my nose out of that, because like I want to share what I learn with other people. So when I started Partner in Wine, I was like, this is great, because I can build the business and it can be my best case study, and I can share all the knowledge that I am getting from Partner in Wine and share it with other people, which is obviously what I've ended up doing, has sort of become my best case study. So I couldn't keep my wine cold during a socially distanced drink in the park with my friend Maddie. And on the way home, after a few too many warm glasses of wine, I thought, why is no one making, like a insulated bottle that looks like a bottle of wine, holds a bottle of wine, keeps it cold for up to 24 hours, warm for up to 12, and has matching tumblers? And then also, where is this wine education piece coming into it? Like, I love wine. I want to know more about wine. Is there something, there's definitely something in that. And the market size for, you have to ask these questions. Who would like my product? How many people drink wine? And how many people struggle to keep their wine cold? And I was like, well, as an avid wine drinker, I struggle a lot to keep my wine cold. So the market size must be there. How many people drink wine? That obviously comes back to where the business is going now, which is, a lot more wine focused. So, there is a huge amount of people out there that need me to innovate them something to do with their wine. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about. That was not in a nutshell, but
it was still very interesting.
I like to tell the context behind it, because I do think sometimes people are like, oh, it's an overnight success. No. I worked for years and years and years, even in my teenage years when it wasn't technically a job, but like the experience that I've built up, it's easily 15, 14 years worth of experience to build a website, code a website, do my social media, tell my story, write in a compelling way, know how to brand my product, know how to brand my website and my social media so that it's all succinct and very like neat and tidy, and be very, very pedantic and picky about the way that things look, because that to me was the only way that it was going to be a success. So there was a lot of experience that went into that, and it's definitely not an overnight success. So
yeah. And I think exactly what you've just highlighted, it's you've brought all those skills together that you've learned over the years and working with other businesses, and then ultimately brought all of that together to therefore launch your own product. But it's all the stuff that's happened prior to that that has enabled you to do it and enabled you to do it successfully as well. Versus if it's the other way around, it can be very difficult for some people that, you know, have an idea and they're like, I want to make this product, but then it can be expensive and challenging to then find, okay, I now need to launch a website, and I now need to get on social media, et cetera, et cetera. So if they haven't had any exposure to that world at all, they've got to learn all of that, as well as actually getting the product off the ground as well. Once you obviously, you had the idea, you got going, and I guess give some insights of in your world, how the world of product development starts, or what you've experienced.
Well, I've got a few things to say about this, because my products are very, very different in terms of the manufacturing process. So the bottles and tumblers and ice queens, etc., they're, to me, fairly straightforward, because there's not a lot of moving components. You know, they're not made from as many materials. But I think the barriers that people face is still something I face to this day, which is that when you are getting products like this made, over here we expect them to be super cheap. So, you know, some people on that first viral video I had on TikTok, people saying, oh, the Partner in Wine bottle is £35. It's like, well, so is a Chili's bottle. Like, you can't please everyone, you know, and if people are not going to buy from me, that's fine. Like, you go and crack on and do whatever you're going to do. But over in China, they want you to, if that's where you're manufacturing, and most manufacturers, to be fair, they want you to order thousands at a time. And for a small business, that's just not feasible. So I think I've struck quite lucky with my finding a manufacturer, and they really supported me and helped me. They let me order small units, small volumes. They sorted out the packaging for me. Again, the packaging people let me order in small volumes, whereas I've tried to get alternative quotes and they just are like, nah, you can order 1,000 of each color. And it's like, well, that's not really how my business model kind of works. So that is a challenge, but mainly that's a challenge for when you start developing new products. So last year I launched the Everything Blanket and the Partner in Wine Journal. So I launched the Everything Blanket in May, and I ordered 300 blankets because that was the smallest amount that I could order. And to me, that was like a huge risk because they were expensive. Like, they're really, really expensive to make. And people are commenting underneath. Again, I had a viral video for the launch of the Everything Blanket. People are commenting below going, oh, you could make this for £45. I'm like, by all means, please go and make it for £45 because they are expensive to make. Okay. And it's not even that goes into it. For example, I was on the Dior website today. They sell a blanket for £2,000. Wow. They sell cushions for £500. And I mean, knowing what I know about manufacturing picnic blankets, they don't cost, I mean, obviously they don't cost that much, but like, if I sold my picnic blanket for the same amount, they probably spent the same amount making their blankets as I did my picnic blanket. I'm just making significantly less. So that was a challenge because I had to order so many. Then it went viral and I ended up selling 160 or 180 on launch day. And that kind of resulted in my best sales day ever. Now I'm nearly sold out of the pink blankets, but now I'm resampling, going into new colours. It just takes forever. And for someone that works in a digital space, I'm used to things being done like quick. Next week after, done. Because you can do that when you're working on digital products or services or whatever it happens to be. Whereas making a slight tweak to something, you've got to start again. You've got to go back. You've got to find the colour. You've got to do a swatch. I like getting those swatches sent over to me. And actually, I didn't do this with the Sage Picnic Blanket, and I regret it because the colour is ever so slightly off Sage. To me, it might not be to everyone else, but to me, I'm like, it's a little bit not right. And I'm a perfectionist. So making sure that you're getting those color samples, you're getting the fabric samples is super important before you place a bulk order. Like, don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes, because at the end of the day, you know, if you're outlaying tens of thousands of pounds on things, it's just, you know, ludicrous not to have a final production sample in your hands. So that was that. And then my journals were actually made in the UK, which, oh my gosh, it was such a dream to produce those. It's a real roller coaster, and you can listen to people talk about product development all day as well. And you're still going to make mistakes. You're still going to, you know, go, oh, actually, I'm not going to order a sample. I can't be arsed. It's going to take X amount of time to come, and that's going to delay the shipment by 4 weeks. No. Trust me. Get the sample, you know? So
it's like having to factor all of that into your timelines. You know, it's having that patience and going, okay, in reality, I need that, even though you're itching to get going. And it can probably be difficult to think, oh, but I'll miss the so-and-so holiday season, or I'll miss a key, you know, selling period. But it's probably sort of having that confidence to sit tight and think it's better to have it that you're happy with versus just rushing it out. And then your customers might buy it and think, well, that was a bit naff, and then you fall under the first hurdle almost. And where for finding, like, particularly factories overseas, because for us the Really Good Conversations is we have equally a UK manufacturer, so that's where ours is made, which again has been ideal for that communication, that correspondence, going and seeing them in person, seeing the factory, you know, seeing their print studio and everything, and that's been really exciting. But what are tips, I guess, from your side for when people are looking further afield and into larger manufacturing factories overseas? Of where do you start? Is it literally just a Googling factories, or is it a bit of an area you can find a directory?
It's really, really hard. Don't go on Alibaba and be fooled by thinking that all of these people on there are factories, because they're not. They're most of them probably are agents, and they're going to be charging you more than what you should be paying for your product. So that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing is, I mean, I'm quite lucky in the way that because I've been in business for so long, I've got quite a large network of people that I know, business owners, friends of mine who run businesses. And I end up having conversations with various different people. And, you know, sometimes things come up. And, for example, a product that I'm developing for this year, I was speaking to an old friend of mine, and she gets a certain product developed with them, and she said, well, they don't develop what you're developing, but they might do. And then I had a conversation, and they were like, oh yeah, like, we've done that before, absolutely no problem. So, you know, and then you know that they're legit, you know that they're a proper factory through recommendations. The only thing I will say, a lot of people aren't happy to give their factory names away, and I understand why, because it is so hard. And the other thing that I've done in the past, which I would really recommend that people do, is there are so many expos around the world where manufacturers go to showcase themselves. You can look up on those websites who the past exhibitors were at those expos, and you can see who the future exhibitors are at those expos, and then you can go onto their websites, etc., and find out the information you need to find out.
Love it. You've shared some really great insights there for, you know, just your experience as a product development, and some little tips, because I think for some people it is where the hell do I start, you know, and it is totally alien to them of where they even go. Now, I was keen to also chat a bit. Obviously, you are quite the Wonder Woman, and you've got obviously your digital consultancy, you've got Partner in Wine, and you're wearing many hats, shall we say. So give us an insight how it is, you know, being that predominantly solo founder, and how you create that sort of working smart, work-life balance. How does it all happen behind the scenes?
Yes. I do sometimes question my life choices. I'm not going to lie, but I think, to be honest with you,
I've definitely felt that as well.
Do you know what? I feel far less stressed being on my own though. So when I had 3 full-time members of staff, as I said to you earlier before this recording, and, you know, I loved I loved the girls who worked with me to pieces, but and they, you know, they left for various different reasons, and they really enhanced my life. But I am such a firm believer that people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and they helped me through a certain period of my life. And then I decided, actually, do you know what? I'm going to work on my own. I'm going to employ, you know, I'm going to save the money that I was paying people's salary with, and I'm going to use that money to work with people who can enhance my business in different ways. So freelancers, working with other small businesses, working a little bit. So I just have this thing actually where I actually don't think I worked that hard when I had people working for me, because I was like, oh, I don't need to do that because they can do that, you know? And so actually it does make you a little bit lazy. Well, it made me a little bit lazy anyway. So now I actually kind of relish getting things done and being like, I've been productive today because I've done a really like menial task that probably, you know, back in the day I was doing as an intern, and I get satisfaction from that. So I find working on my own really enjoyable. I find it less stressful. Yes, okay, don't get me wrong, I have my moments where I'm like, why did I take so much on? But that's just me being me and not saying no. And something that I need to work on in 2024 is learning to set some more boundaries with that. So, and not put so much pressure on myself actually, because it is mainly induced by me trying to make more content than I need to for socials. So that's what takes up most of my time. But
yeah, I was going to ask, is your social creation, do you think that's one of your key things of a day, week, that is where you spend a lot of your time and energy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I spent most of today making videos for social media. So it's not very structured.
And then do you edit at all?
Yeah.
Awesome. And I can appreciate that as well, because if you do have people who can help you, by the time you perhaps brief somebody on the edit of how you might want to tweak things, it's a bit, you might as well have just done it yourself and then it's done.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing I will say is, so over Christmas, my friend Freddie, she edited some of my videos for me, and she kind of knows quite well what my style is. So, but the thing is she would have to send it back to me. I would have to add a voiceover. I would have to add the captions. I would then have to add captions to upload to Instagram, but then I would have to upload it to TikTok, add their captions, edit those all over again. So it maybe cuts out like the smallest part of the process. Yeah. But the uploading part still takes like an extra hour once you factor in adding your caption, tagging things you need to tag, then adding the subtitles. It just takes a lot of time.
Now, something I like to obviously ask every guest on our podcast is a couple of questions from one of our packs of cards. So I'm going to give you a quick fire 3 questions. And I've picked from the Really Good Conversations for Kids 2 pack. Question number 1. What 3 things would you take to a desert island and why?
Oh gosh. Okay, I'll take a book, because I do love a holiday read. I don't read at any other time of the year. I do have a massive pile of business books that stare at me, that make me feel better just purely from the fact that they're there. But I love like a scandalous, trashy, saucy holiday book, and I just feel like that would keep me entertained for a while. So I'd take that. Am I ever getting off this desert island?
Oh, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, because I mean,
let's talk about the legalities of this.
Yeah, because you can take your book and then when you're finished, you could use it for fire, is what I was thinking. But then that's done. So,
well, I'm just wondering how long I'm there for, just because.
Let's say you're on it a few months.
Okay, I want to take a toolkit.
Oh.
And I'm assuming like I've got no signal on this island, so otherwise I'd take a laptop and be like, "Hey guys, can someone come and get me? I'm stuck on this island." I would take a toolbox, because I'm going to need some like saws and some nails and stuff to like build myself a nice house out there.
Yeah.
Rather than just lying on the beach, because what if it rains? If I'm on a desert island for a few months, like we might be in rainy season, you just don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to take that. And So I've got something to entertain me. I've got something practical. I'm going to take a bottle of squash.
Ooh.
These are all very random things, aren't they? But I tell you why I'm going to take a bottle of squash. I've really answered this in a very practical way, not out of pure enjoyment. I'm going to take a bottle of squash because I think if I'm like catching fish from the sea, I'm like eating plants and stuff, I need something to like tantalize my taste buds a bit, just to make me feel a little bit better. And I love grapefruit and fizzy squash. But obviously I won't have fizzy water out there, but I will take my grapefruit squash so that I can make myself a squash on the daily and just make myself feel, you know, ever so slightly better.
I love that. And you can get hopefully a bit of like sugar.
My God. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I was going to say, I should have said coffee because I can't live without coffee, but I think the squash is a more practical answer. I could go cold turkey.
Fantastic. I love them. Question number 2. How would you describe your perfect day? Because I imagine your days are very varied.
Working?
Up to you.
Is this my perfect working day or just my perfect day?
Just your perfect day. So it's up to you if that includes work or is outside of work.
Okay, let's do like let's do half a day of working, half a day of not working. So my perfect day, I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to have I wake up nice and early. I'm an early riser. So 8 a.m. is like a, you know, good like lion for me. So I'm going to make myself a nice cup of coffee. And I like to sit in bed with my coffee. I have black coffee, by the way. Black coffee, no milk, no sugar. And I like to sit in bed, drink my coffee, have a scroll, see what's going on socials, see what's trending, see if anything's that happen in the world that could potentially be relevant for my day or the way that I need to make content, etc. Then get up, have a shower, wash my hair and blow dry my hair. I love blow drying my hair and putting on makeup. Like, it just makes me feel so put together and like I've got my life together, even if I don't. So like, that's an instant mood booster for me. And I just think if you're in a bad mood, just do like loads of small little things that'll make you feel better about yourself. So that's what I do next. And then I love food. So my day like heavily always revolves around food. So at the moment, I'm loving berries and yogurt for breakfast. And that's what I'd probably have. But I do also, I like to have breakfast for lunch. So I might have like eggs for lunch or something, or like I don't know, wrap or noodles, whatever. So anyway, after I've done all that in the morning, I would probably go for a dog walk with my mum and dad.
Oh, lovely.
And maybe stop off for some lunch somewhere. That would be great. And then I would come home. And then I would spend the afternoon filming content. Because in the afternoon, the light comes through my living room window, which is where I film all my content. And if it's sunny, they're like quality, the vibes of the video, great. So I'd do that. Then I'd sit down at my desk, do a few emails, see if I've got any invoices to pay, etc. And then I would go to a gym class at my local gym. Mainly just because I feel like... So I actually went to the gym for the first time yesterday, not in a class. I went to the open gym and they were very shocked to see me there, I have to say. And they were like, but you're coming on your own, you're not coming to a class. And I was like, no, I couldn't because I had a call at lunch and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's a very small, like family-run gym and it's just real good vibes. And I realised that going on my own is not good for me because my phone is there. Whereas when I do a class, I leave my phone outside and I often have very, very good ideas at my gym classes. And I just enjoy going there. I think it's really nice to have a phone-free moment and concentrate on something else.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm at home, I can't concentrate very well on other things. So any opportunity I have to leave my phone in my pocket and concentrate wholeheartedly on something else like the gym, that's just like my happy place. So yeah, I'd go there, then I'd come home, make some noodles or some dumplings, pour myself a glass of wine, and sit on the sofa and probably watch Traitors.
Nice. It sounds a very relaxing day.
Yeah, so wholesome. I don't need a lot of things in life.
That could be an achievable day for you. That could be your day tomorrow, perhaps.
Yeah.
What are we, Saturday?
Yes.
Maybe it's next week.
I'm not going to work tomorrow, but... Oh, actually, no, that's a lie. I am going to work tomorrow, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe I could. That sounds wonderful.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you for that. And final question number 3. What is the best thing about the place where you live?
That there's a pub 5-minute walk in any direction that I walk from my house.
Very handy.
Yeah, and the river.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for answering them. And I have that one finishing question. Is if you could ask any person, dead or alive, a question, who would it be and what would you ask them?
The one person that keeps coming back to mind, and if I ever meet her again, she's going to, I don't know, if she ever listens to anything I ever say about her, or and then I meet her again, she's going to be like, oh, there's that crazy girl who's obsessed with me. I love Jo Malone.
Oh.
She is just like such an incredible woman. And I always say this on any podcast I go on where they ask me a question like this or something to do, I don't know, something about someone that inspires me. She has had the most extraordinary life full of like trials and tribulations. And I don't think many people know unless you're inspired by her. So definitely read her book, but she also does tell her story a lot more succinctly on other people's podcasts. But she has had the most extraordinary life, and she exited Jo Malone when she was recovering from breast cancer and lost her incredible sense of smell. And she then had like a non-compete for however long, and that's when she started up Jo Loves. And she said, and she always says this on podcasts as well, but she said, never make a life-changing decision on a bad day. And I think that's a piece of advice that has really stuck with me. So what question would I ask Jo Malone? Well, I have actually met Jo Malone, and let me tell you, I don't get starstruck, and I saw her and I went up to her and I don't know what came out of my mouth. It was like, I have a business. She was like, oh, that's great. What do you do? And I was like, I help people with their social media, because that's what I did at the time. And I didn't quite get my words out and comprehend it then. But had I asked her what I wanted to ask her at the time, I would have said I would have asked her what her number one piece of advice would have been for growing her business, or what is the magic potion for success, I think is what I would have asked her, because Jo Loves now is obviously very, very successful in its own right. Jo Malone is very, very successful in its own right. And I can unpick her story and understand why she was so successful. But I just think it would be really interesting to hear from her what factors she really, truly believes contributed to her success. Because I just think it's fascinating in terms of other people, very self-comparison, why has their business taken off quicker than their business, Is it because they were in the right place at the right time? Was it because they knew the right people to help promote their business? Was it because they had more money? Was it because they had more resources? I think there's so many different things that can make a business a success, and it's very, very easy to draw comparisons. So asking someone who is so clearly very successful and has this amazing aura about them, I would be fascinated to hear from her why she thinks that was.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. And that is a great question and a great person. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been brilliant to hear so much from your journey and your insights and just what you're saying about, Jo Malone. It is, really great to hear somebody's story, the journey they're on, and you're doing amazing things, and sounds like you've got a lot of exciting stuff coming this year and next year. How can our listeners, if anyone who is listening hasn't heard of you before or checked out your stuff, how can people find out more about you and your businesses?
You can find out everything on social media at Partner in Wine UK, at Lucy Hitchcock _ and at Sassy Digital.
Fantastic. We'll include all of those links in the show notes as well. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information on today's guests. And if really good conversations are your thing, hit subscribe and join us next time for more business journeys, insights and banter.